What's happening, everybody? I'm Allie Burns from Picks and Parlays. Welcome to the Picks and Parlays Power Hour. We've got a lot of football to discuss today, not just the NFL, but we're touching on some college and some CFL, Canadian football as well. I've got Sean Higgs here today talking about the Seahawks and the Wyoming-Illinois game. I've got Ross Benjamin here talking about the Pac-12 and the Bears game. And then I've got Nick Parsons coming in. He's going to be talking about some CFL action as well as I forgot his other thing. Oh, Carolina and the Patriots. That's the other game we're going to be talking about. So lots to unpack here, lots of fun stuff, and we've got a week of preseason under our belt. So more fun discussion than we've had in the past weeks or so. Everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, and check out our sponsor, BetMGM. Up to $1,000 and a risk-free first bet for all new accounts. You just got to use the promo code MORNING. Or you could check out the description of the video and click on the link. All right, my first guest, Sean Higgs from Winning Free Picks is here. Sean, how you feeling today?
Good. I was just about to yawn, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm coming back in the video. I better stop yawning.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So we've got a week of preseason under our belts, and you're going to be talking to us about the Seattle Seahawks regular season win total. I see it set at a 5.5. The juice is on the over on this one. What are your initial thoughts about this Seahawks squad?
Well, I got to say real fast, we talked about preseason. We saw all those overs, and then this week, the opening lines were kind of high, and we've seen a few of them kind of trickle back down. So don't think you're just going to run on bet overs this week, folks. So
that was kind of fluky, wasn't it? That was kind of fluky.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show how that worked out. But hey, let's talk regular season. Let's talk Seattle. And, no Russell Wilson here. They traded him away. Apparently, he's gone. You look at this 5.5, and again, people are going to say, wow, these guys have won 10 or more games, like 8 of the last 12 years, and they no less than 7 wins. Totally different team. That's Russell Wilson. That's the Legion of Boom. Not Geno and Drew Lock. This is a team. I don't even know what's going on here. Pete Carroll's 71 years old. He's going to stick around for a rebuild. Is this a total tank job? It's an under for me. I look at the schedule. I'm like, where are the wins? At Detroit, home Carolina, home Jets. Those should be wins. And then where else? I mean, I think they lose. I do think they beat Denver opening week. I think that's like a kind of payback game. Like, oh, you want to get traded? I kind of like that spot. But where are the 6 wins coming from? Do they beat Vegas up here? Does Vegas lay an egg in the weather up here? I mean, at New Orleans, I don't think that's an easy game. At the Chargers, that's not a easy game for them. I do not see 5.5. A 6 is at juice to 130. So 5.5, we're going to be at what, about 110 here at BetMGM?
I have it at minus like 135 on my site.
135 at a 5.5. Okay, because I saw a 6 at a minus 130, which
because my maybe under is a plus number. 105 right. Plus 105.
Okay. So yeah, I think this is under. I think this is probably a 4-win team. 5, even 5 are still on the under.
Yeah,
we're not rolling out. Cortez Kennedy, Steve Largent. They're not. We're not seeing all these guys coming in here. You got 2 decent receivers in Lockhart and Metcalf, but I just preseason wise, I love Geno and Drew Lock. It's a good reason to kind of back a team. You got 2 NFL guys chucking it. I get it. Regular season, I don't know if I want to go to battle with that.
Right. And there's in such a tough division too. I mean, you got the Rams, the Niners, and the Cardinals all above you in the division. That doesn't make things any easier as well. Do you see them winning any of their division games?
They might get 2 of them. I mean, really, I don't. They play the Rams tough at home, but again, that's with a different quarterback. That's a whole. That's you got a whole deal. Quarterback out of there. It's not like you threw in Aaron Rodgers for him or. Insert anybody but guys who have been backups or mediocre starters. I just don't see it. I'll say 2. I mean, I'll be shocked if they win none. I mean, could they get swept out here?
Right. All right. So we are going with the under 5.5 wins on the season for the Seahawks.
Yes.
Pack a lunch, boys. It's going to be a long day at work. All right. It's going to be a long day being a Seahawks fan, which is unfortunate because I like the Seahawks.
Yeah. At least you got the Mariners playing well right now.
Yeah. So there's that. I don't know if that's a trade-off from the NFL people to baseball people. I don't feel like that's a trade. But okay, so let's move into some college football. Right? We're talking some Mountain West versus Big Ten. We've got Wyoming at Illinois. It's Illinois minus a 10.5. I've got a total at 44.5 on this one. So 10 is what the number you've got. What are we looking at here, Higgs? What are we looking at? I mean, Wyoming plays a lot to the over. Illinois plays a lot to the under. That's kind of Big Ten football for you. What are we thinking here?
I'm thinking it could be kind of an ugly kind of game here. Wyoming, you lose some wide receivers, lose some running backs. What are they going to do? They're going to want to run the ball a little bit. Decent offensive line. I'm going to go under here, and it's because I don't expect anything out of Wyoming. Maybe a 10 spot. I don't even know if Illinois defense. It's Illinois. Again, this is a bottom team in the Big Ten, last in passing. One of the worst offenses in football. I think ranked about 110th total offense. Bad. 7 of 10 games, you couldn't get to 20 points. Maybe they take a step forward, right? Second year, Brett Bielema. He's got some guys in there. I expect them to, again, move the ball. They're going to be a running kind of team. They haven't had – who's the last good quarterback at Illinois? Juice Williams? I don't even know. They haven't had much offense. Lovey, I liked the hire when he was there, but they didn't get much out of it. I'm just going under. It's a bad offense last year. I can't see him taking leaps and bounds. As bad as I think Wyoming's not going to be a good team, they might be a 4-win team or a 5-win team, maybe. I don't see them putting up a 30-plus here. And even if they put up 34, this game could easily be 34-0. I mean, Wyoming, to me, lost all their skill position guys. I'm going to go under the 44.5. This was a 46.5. Actually got it on the Picks and Parlay site. So I got a good number there if you got down early,
Yeah, indeed. And that's really what this part of the year, this part of the season is all about, is just finding those lines that you can jump on them before they move. So sharp play by you, as always, Sean Higgs. And what day does this game? It is, hold on, I know what it is.
This is 27th, I believe.
Saturday, August the 27th, just so everybody knows what we're talking about here. Saturday, August the 22nd or 7th. And no preseason in college, huh? We're going
jump right into it. I know, week 0. I don't know why they call week 0. They got enough games. It should be considered a week 1. I don't know.
Yeah, can't we just tag one to the end of the other side and count like normal people? Who starts at 0? Come on. The NFL, I guess.
Yes.
All right. Anything else to report out of you, my friend?
That's it. Grinding along baseball. And we got NFL. I got 9 college football, and I believe about 9 NFL week 1s up. So go get a package. Get a monthly subscription, and you'll get all those inside.
Yes. So you're going to get those picks over at picksandparlays.net. That is where we keep all of the good goods, the good, best picks from our handicappers. Use the promo code NFL. That's going to save you 20% off whatever you buy from Higgs or any of our other cappers on the site. You can even buy multiple packages and stick them together and save 20%. And you really, really want to keep your eyes out for those season-long packs right now, all right? All sports pass. You pay one rate. Save yourself the 20% on it, and you get every single sport, every single pick from that capper all year long, guys. Keep your eyes out for that. Sean Higgs, I'll check you out tomorrow morning at noon and every day at noon on Midday Money. You have a great day. Thanks for stopping by.
You got it.
All right, guys. So up next, I've got expert handicapper Ross Benjamin here. We are going to be talking, guess what? More football. I know it's very exciting, but first I need you all to like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. Don't forget about BetMGM. Ross is going to talk some Pac-12 odds and the Bears at, guess who? The Seahawks. How's it going, Ross? How are you, friend?
It's very good. Everything's going smooth, exciting stuff with football on the horizon. Preseason NFL are already underway, and some interesting things that have happened so far. 14 of 17 games going over the total. So usually when that happens, Ellie, look to go the other way the following week.
Yep, because we all know the odds makers remember that the betting public only remembers the last thing that they saw. But before we get too into the NFL, let's start off. We're going to keep the college ball rolling along here. Pac-12, interesting conference. We've got USC, Utah, and Oregon right at the top, followed by UCLA, Washington, and Oregon State. From there, it just kind of goes down, down, down. What are you looking at in this one, Ross?
I'm looking at a 3-horse race here. USC, Utah, and Oregon. I don't want to waste the viewers' time talking about any other teams. If one pops up and surprises everybody, I'll tip my hat, but I don't see it. Let's start with USC. I mean, they're plus 200 to win the Pac-12 title. Lincoln Riley, the big story, coming over from Oklahoma. He gets 8 offensive starters returning from a season ago. He also has brought in the number 1 transfer portal class in the country. So in terms of their defense, they gave up over 400 yards last year, and it's very difficult to win any Power 5 conference with those kinds of defensive numbers. He's got 9 of those transfers on the defensive side of the ball in their 2 deep rotations. So look for them to be vastly improved on that side of the ball. And also he brings over his quarterback from Oklahoma a season ago, Caleb Williams. And he certainly knows Lincoln Riley's offense like the back of his hand. And also Jordan Addison, easy for me to say. He comes over, a transfer from Pitt that had over 1,000 yards receiving last year with Kenny Pickett at quarterback. So he'll be an impact player. So I like USC's chances. I think there'll be a serious contender right down to the end. Also, Oregon, plus 300, new coach, Dan Lanning. He comes over from Georgia, was their defensive coordinator, and we all know how good Georgia's defense was. I'm not so sure he's going to inherit the same type of athletes that he had in Georgia. But still, Oregon's got 15 returning starters. Here's the thing for me. Bo Nix is slated to be their starting quarterback. Bo Nix, formerly of Auburn. I don't see any Power 5 team winning a conference title with Bo Nix under center. I do think Oregon will be very good, but I think Bo Nix will be their enigma in terms of winning the Pac-12. Then we go to Utah, the defending Pac-12 champions at plus 250 right now. You know, here's the thing about Utah. Not only are they the defending Pac-12 champions, 67.5% of the starts they had last year, meaning their roster, came from underclassmen. So we got a team that's experienced and with winning experience. Some teams you'll get 20 starters back, but they went 2-12 the year before. So what? This team was a Pac-12 champion, excellent 10-4 record. I love Kyle Whittingham as their head coach. He's just one of the best head coaches in the country that not a lot of people know about. I love their quarterback, Cameron Rising. He took over an early season last year, and Utah really went on a run with him. And don't forget, folks, this is a team that took Ohio State right down to the wire in the Rose Bowl before falling 48-45. I like the Utah Utes here to win the Pac-12 again. I think that the experience will be the telling factor, and I love their head coach, and this is a solid team. The other teams might have more star power, but I'm going to go with the Utah Utes here, plus 250 to win the Pac-12.
All right. I mean, I'm an Oregon Duck girl, but I also know that my program's been in turmoil. So don't get me wrong about that either. So I'm not opposed to Utah at all. USC, I'm just very excited to see them play. Yeah. It's not a team that I would put a future on, especially at that price. You're getting, what was it, plus 190? I think you said you have 200. I've got a 190. To hold up my money for an entire college football season at 2-1 odds is just not really worth it for me, I would say. But with this Utah team, they are proven, they're tested, and let's see what they got. Let's see what they got going on. At least with them, I know what I'm getting. Laying a plus 250 or taking a plus 250. At least I know what I'm getting with the champs, whereas USC has a lot of variables involved. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly.
All right, beautiful. I love it when you do that. Okay, so let's pop back into the NFL. We were just talking about the Seahawks, their win total at a 5.5. Higgs likes that to go under. Week 2 of the preseason, they're taking on the Chicago Bears. They will be at home in Seattle. They did lose week 1 to the Steelers. It was a close one, though. They kind of went back and forth, and then it was a late touchdown by the Steelers that did it. The Bears, on the other hand, they won, beating the Patriots by 2, I believe it was. 19-14. Yes, 19-14. They were scoreless in the first half, but third quarter, they really kicked it into gear. They scored 16 there. Fourth quarter, they scored 3 more. 16 plus 3 is 19, 19-14. There's your final, people. Tell me what you think, Ross Benjamin. Seahawks are -5.5. See, I can math. Or Seahawks are -4.5. The total's 42.5. What do you got going on in this one?
Well, there's two things I look at: is head coaching trends, and also I lean on my NFL handicapping software for NFL preseason results, and my results have been really good, and we'll go over that later. But in any event, since 2018, Seattle has been an uninspiring 3-3 straight up and 2-4 against the spread at home with Pete Carroll in charge. And that's news because there was a time when Pete Carroll just didn't lose NFL preseason games at home with Seattle. As a matter of fact, prior to that 3-3 straight up and 2-4 ATS run, Seattle had gone 11-2 straight up in ATS in their previous 13 home games in preseason play prior to that. But you know what? To me, that speaks to the gradual decline we've seen in the quality of depth that Seattle has. I think Sean touched upon that a little bit. By the way, I emphatically agree with his underplay on the Seattle regular season win total. And then Ellie took some of my thunder, but we'll go over it again. Chicago coming off a 19-14 win at Kansas, or I'm sorry, at home against Kansas City. And they did so as a home underdog of +1.5, while Seattle, as Ellie also touched upon, 32-25 loss at Pittsburgh, and they failed to cover as a 2-point underdog. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing: since the 1983 preseason, anytime you have an NFL preseason away underdog like the Chicago Bears, it's coming off a home dog straight up win. Again, they beat Kansas City as a home underdog, and they're facing an opponent coming off a straight up loss like Seattle, the 32-25 loss at Pittsburgh. Those away underdogs in that situation during preseason action has gone 18-4 against the spread, and they won 10 of those 22 games straight up. I'm going with the Chicago Bears here, +4.5 over the Seattle Seahawks.
See, this one too, I have what's called the Ross Benjamin play. I don't know if you know that I call it that, but I call it the Ross Benjamin play. On my book, this is a 5.5. And so my Ross Benjamin play is always find a way to take the dog. In NFL, if you're getting 5.5 points, you always find a way to take the dog. So
5
this
or 5.5. Yep.
5 to 5. Yeah. So if it opens at 5.5, and now it's ticked down to 4.5, did I just miss the best number and I should lay off of it? Like, according to the rule, I mean, or do I only want to bet the 5.5s?
No, I mean, if look, and I'd still take them at 4.5, obviously, because I just gave that pick out. If it's 5.5, all the better. And yes, I always in the NFL, if I could, it's not a no-brainer, Ellie, but if you could justify the means and taking a team that's a dog of 5.5. The numbers are proven over the course of a long time that dogs of 5 and 5.5 cover a heck of a lot more than they don't. So, I'm flattered by that. Ellie, you call it the Ross Benjamin play.
The Ross Benjamin play. So my Parlays call it that too.
Well, thank you, all of you. I appreciate that. It's flattering.
Of course. So over at picksandparlays.net, you're crushing things like you do. I know you are a big preseason football guy, and you put out a lot of plays on preseason. How did you do over the weekend?
I did tremendous. It's since the 2022 NFL preseason began, starting with the Hall of Fame game, I'm a perfect 4-0 right now. Woo. And if you go back to last year at picksandparlays.net, my last 14 NFL preseason picks, I've gone 12-2. Prior to joining picksandparlays.net last year, I've been documented at one site, and it's an independent site. So, I mean, there's no favoritism involved. 75 handicappers being documented there. My NFL preseason record, a documented 66-46 since 2011, 59%. And you know what, Ellie? People will say they can't make money during the NFL preseason. You're absolutely incorrect. And I'll have 4 to 5
You're doing it wrong.
Yes. I'll have 4 to 5 picks up over the weekend in the NFL preseason. My Major League Baseball top plays, by the way, 55-38 since the start of last year. Dime players, 15,200 to the good.
Ooh, I like that. I like the sound of all of those things. Guys, check out Ross Benjamin over at picksandparlays.net. Use that promo code NFL. It'll save you 20%. Don't forget about the all sports passes, the all NFL pass, the all college football pass, whatever you're into. You can jump on it for the entire season and use that promo code to save you 20% off. It's a great deal. It's the time of the season to do it, time of year to do it. Thanks so much for joining us on the Power Hour. Ross Benjamin, I will see you sometime next week, friend.
Look forward to it, Ellie. Thank you for having me.
You got it. All right, we're going to move into a little bit of Canadian football action before we finish off with the NFL. We're going to talk Edmonton at Ottawa and then the Panthers at the Patriots. Before we get to all that, I just got to remind you to like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. What happens when you do that? The bell's going to go bing, and then something will come up on your phone and you'll be like, oh my God, they're doing the Power Hour or Morningwood or Midday Money or Total Chaos or Game Time Decision. I've got to log on and I've got to get my free picks from Picks and Parlays. One of my favorite free pickers is here. It is Nick Parsons from the Insiders Room. How's it going, Nick?
It's going fantastic. Yeah. Looking forward to the NFL season really getting going, obviously. But yeah, lots of baseball still to go and CFL as well.
Yes. So let's start off with the CFL. Okay. You've been cashing like crazy on CFL. I follow your plays. We're talking about the Edmonton Elks and the Ottawa Redblacks here. Give me a little rundown on this CFL matchup.
Well, these are two bottom feeders, Allie. If this was a bowl game, we would definitely be calling it the toilet bowl. Yeah, but that doesn't matter because we're looking at the spread. Who cares if the two teams are bad? Right. The Elks, they're 2-7. They'll head to Ottawa to take on a 1-7 Redblacks team. As you mentioned, Ottawa is the favorite here. The total has been set at right around 47.5. Mm-hmm. Now, the last time Edmonton took the field, it lost. It played Saskatchewan. It lost by a score of 34-23. Quarterback Taylor Cornelius, he was just 13 of 23. He had 209 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. He did have 86 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Kenny Lawler was the other offensive standout. He had 106 receiving yards on 6 catches. Edmonton, though, it clearly has major issues on both ends of the field. It averages only 18.7 games. It allows 36. Now, on the other end of the field, Ottawa, last week in this last game, it faced Calgary. It lost by a score of 17-3. Jackson Bennett, he had 30 yards on 6 carries. Nick Arbuckle, he was only 17 of 23 for 186 passing yards and 2 interceptions. I guess to their credit, the Redblacks actually looked pretty good, holding Calgary to only 17 points. But once again, the offense looked completely terrible. Ottawa only averages 19.4 points per game. It's a little bit better on the defensive end. It allows 24.4. Now in the CFL, Ellie, there's only 9 teams. So these teams see a lot of each other over the course of a season. But this is the first game of the year between these two cellar dwellers. So what I think about this game is I just think that Ottawa is just not a good team to be favored by this much. The Elks have had a few blowout losses earlier in the season. That's why their defensive numbers are a bit skewed here. I think this one will be decided in the final moments. And so for this play, Ali, I'm going to say grab as many points as you can and grab the least stenchy of these two teams. Go with Edmonton.
All right. Well, all that makes a lot of sense. That's kind of just a rule of thumb when you have two crappy teams and it could really go either way. Just take the points. Just always take the points. At least you've got an advantage in your favor there. All right. So let's move into some football. We were talking about Seattle quite a bit. It's funny, you're up in Canada right above Seattle, but you are going to be doing the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots. Panthers covered by 5 last week. That game went over 8. Pats covered by 2.5. That one went over by 7.5. So 2 teams that covered, 2 teams that went over. We've got Panthers -2 at New England. Totals 41.5. And when we're done with this pick, let's just touch on the over-under off skew again before we let everyone go.
Absolutely. I was going to touch on that even to begin with, but let's come back to that at the end there, because if you look at the week 1 totals and then you look at the week 2 totals here, there's quite a big discrepancy there. But Carolina, it's in New England this weekend for week 2, the preseason. So remember, we only have 3 weeks of the preseason now. We used to always have 4. And then in week 3 was the week where the veterans and the starters saw the majority of the time. And so I guess week 2 is sort of like what week 3 used to be before. So, I mean, if that's the case, Carolina has to be liking its chances here. It won 23-21 at Washington last weekend. The Panthers, they got a good look at all 4 of their quarterbacks. They had varying success, but I mean, they're going to be trying to build on those performances in week 2. And then funnily enough, as if it was the Super Bowl, the Patriots lost to the Giants there 23-21.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, both of these offenses, really, they look good. They both scored over 20 points. So the big question here, I guess, is which of these 2 teams will take the next step forward here in week 2? I mean, there's lots of different ways to bet preseason. Ross is really good at betting preseason, and he has many different methods and theories, different trends he follows. I mean, he doesn't follow any one single handicapping methodology. But for me, I've always thought that the starting quarterbacks, for the most part, is a good place to start. I'm always trying to find the best backups or even 4 starters who have to compete for their job. I mean, because during the preseason, it's not really the starters that are playing. Mac Jones, he didn't see any time in week 1. He'll probably see a little bit of time here in week 2, but for the most part, it'll be Brian Hoyer and Bailey Zapp who's going to see most of the action in this one. Carolina, it'll use all 4 of its quarterbacks again here in week 2. 3 of the 4 quarterbacks for Carolina looked decent last week. Matt Corral, I thought he was going to be a lot better, but he was only 1 of 9 for 11 yards. But I really do like Sam Darnold, PJ Walker, and you have Baker Mayfield over the combination of Hoyer and Zapp. And so that's how I'm going to break this one down, Allie. I'm just looking at this quarterback rotation. Really, with a spread like this, though, as well, I think you might want to consider just not even worrying about the spread. Just put it on the money line. It's going to be a reasonable price. But either way, my call on this one is to take Carolina.
Okay, take Carolina. I get what you're saying, because Mac Jones is the quarterback for the Patriots. That's happening. We've just got Hoyer and Zapp kind of practicing and warming up and playing for second place, right? Whereas, is Baker officially the starter for the Panthers?
That's a good question. I believe that it's his job to lose. And as I mentioned, he is obviously one of these quarterbacks that he's a starter. But he's viewed as a struggling starter that has to perform to keep his job here. I think that they'll go with Mayfield to start with, unless he just completely stinks it up over the next 2 weeks. But I mean, Darnold's right there in the wings. Darnold had experience there last week, and Darnold will be vying for that position. And so that's what makes this play really strong, I think, this week.
Yeah, that was kind of the point I was alluding to. Was I like when you've got that competition going on that they're playing for something. We might not, be playing to win the Super Bowl right now, but we're playing to get a job, and that's pretty good motivation right now. So I'm with you on this. I like the Panthers -2. Now, like we were saying, totals. What was it? 14-3 to the over or something. It's something crazy.
Exactly. And so I mentioned to a lot of people the main guys in my Discord over at the Insiders Room there, we were talking about that because, when you look at the Hall of Fame game total, you look at those week 1 totals, they were all extremely low. And of course, the Hall of Fame game went over. And as you just mentioned, however many games went over the number there. And so we were talking about that. We were expecting, that the week 2 totals would be 5 and 7 points higher. And that's the case. We're seeing up to 42, 43 in some of these games.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And I mean, I get that, but like we said, both of these teams scored 20 points last week. But do you think now that the odds makers have just overinflated that, knowing that the betting public really likes to take overs, knowing that we all just saw overs last week? I mean, is this just an under week?
I guess we're going to find out. The preseason is really tricky. So that's an interesting one. I'm not sure what to say on that one. I guess we're going to see. I mean, they anticipate, they saw all that scoring last week, how easy it was, and all these high scores. And so they're just, we know what the bookmakers are trying to do. They're trying to get 50% of the action here, 50% of the action here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was really interesting. And I guess, this is something that we can talk about next week when we look at the totals for week 3. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. We'll just keep this conversation going and figure something out. We're just handicapping something right now. We're in the middle of it.
Right.
Don't have all the answers yet, but stay tuned. We will. All right, Nick Parsons, the Insiders Room is crushing stuff over at picksandparlays.net. I know you guys handled. You were 9-1 last year through the playoffs. You were 2-1 this week. That makes you 11-2.
Our last
Yes.
13 NFL picks. Exactly.
Woo!
No, we're super pumped. We'll be releasing a few more preseason picks this weekend, but of course, we just can't wait for the regular season. We do have a week 1 regular season pickup. We're going to wait a little bit longer to the closer to the month before we start releasing our regular season plays, but we can't wait. Check out the Insiders Room at picksandparlays.net.
Yes, they've got your football needs, your Canadian football needs, your baseball needs, and your baseball day games. That's what I love about. It's one of the many things I love about the Insiders Room is you guys play a lot of day games. Also, check out the Insiders Room Discord. It is totally worth it. You've got all the regular cast and crew that you see on the Total Chaoses with Ross Mann and Dan Kaiser and Dustin Bowser and Rye Cape. They're all, and Nick Parsons, of course. They're all in the Insiders Room Discord. You guys really should check that out. But head over to picksandparlays.net, use the promo code NFL, and save 20% off whatever packages you purchase from Nick Parsons. PPP. Packages you purchase from Parsons. Thank you so much, Nick, for coming on the show.
Thanks,
I'll see
Ellie.
you again next week, and I'll see you Thursday for Total Chaos.
For sure. Can't wait.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, guys, that was a power hour, was it not? We got a lot of great information out of our 3 expert handicappers from picksandparlays.net. Higgs is loving the Seattle Seahawks regular season win total to go under. He is digging on, was it the under in the Wyoming game? Ross Benjamin, he is looking towards some Utah action in the Pac-12 as far as winning that conference is concerned. Nick Parsons has taken the Panthers. Take them on the money line. Don't mess around with that -2. And what else? The Edmonton Elks, we're going to take them plus the 4.5. And I'm going to make a mental note right now to never try to do a recap without a rundown ever again off the top of my head. Okie doke. Thank you guys so much for joining us here at the Picks and Parlays Power Hour. We're on Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to check us out. 4 o'clock, you're going to head over to Sean Miller's soccer show, and then 5 p.m. right here on the Max Wagers Network with Picks and Parlays Game Time Decision with Detroit Lenny and Earl Sports Bets. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. Hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, and good luck to everyone.